In this lesson, we're going to create the hammer for the weapon. Alright, so almost there with the high poly inversion. We want to go ahead and create the hammer for this. And you can see that this is relatively simple, just like the trigger. A couple of things that we'll want to change about that, but let's go ahead and just get started with it. Let's go ahead and create a box. And I'm going to start from this corner and just kind of drag that in. Now it is going to go inside of that slot there, so we want to make sure that we give it enough room for that. Let's go ahead and just give it a height, and then from here what I'm going to do is just convert it over to editable poly. So let's go ahead and go to our perspective view. Let's switch over to polygon mode, and I'm going to pull this over just so it fits in there, just like so. I don't want it to be right up against that. I want it to be fairly close, but not right up against it. Okay. Now let's go to our left view and let's go to vertex mode. And what I'm going to do is just simply start moving these points about. Okay. Now I'm not worried about the front. That can be perfectly straight. I'm okay with that for right now. Let's go ahead and go to polygon mode, but I want to select the polygon that's on the very bottom here. And if you select right on that line, you should be able to select it. But if not, just switch over to perspective and select it that way. Let's go ahead and extrude, and I'm just going to extrude it. I don't really care about what the size or the amount is on that. I'm just extruding this up because I'm going to come in and just change that on my own. Okay, so let's go to vertex mode. I'm going to pull this one right to here. Okay, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this polygon and extrude it out to get the hammer lock itself. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this down just a little bit. It's going to have kind of this curved shape to it. And then let's go ahead and extrude that polygon again. I am going to go ahead and knock it down to 1 so that way I don't have to zoom out so far. And then just hit OK. And again, I don't really care about what that amount is because I'm going to be moving the polygons anyway. So just need those extra polys. All right, so let's go ahead and just switching back and forth, trying to get this to kind of match up here, and we'll do one more. That should give us plenty for the hammer, and we'll extrude that. And actually, I don't think I extruded. I inset. Let's extrude. There we go. And F3. Let's just go ahead and go to vertex mode. And I'm switching back and forth between shaded and wireframe on that, so I'm hitting F3 to do that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and select these pieces here. And again, I don't really care about its shape. It's going to be hidden anyway, so we can just make it like this if we really wanted to. That's totally up to you. If you want to make the bottom of that flat, okay, and try to shape that up to the exact shape that a hammer would be, within reason, of course, you can go ahead and do that. So it would look something kind of like this. Okay, maybe a little bit more of a curve right here, but fairly close to something like this. Okay. And then from here, we need to go ahead and get the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that now. I'm going to select these polygons and just delete those out, and then go to border mode, select that border, and use symmetry. With symmetry, apply. Let's go to our Z direction. There we go. I am not going to collapse it just yet because I'm not finished working on it. So what I can do is go to editable poly, show end result, and then I can just select edges, okay, like this edge here, and just pull that down, and it reflects there. Okay, just one of those things that we can do. Let's go ahead and go to vertex mode. I'm going to take this vertex here, and I'm going to pull that. It's going to start to round off just a little bit, and I'm okay with that because this hammer does tend to round off just a bit. Okay. Now let's go ahead and take these two polygons here, or just the one actually, and we're going to extrude that. Okay. Now it's going to extrude outward, okay, like this, and that can pose a little bit of an issue there. So what I want to do is actually just pull that toward the middle, and what will happen is whenever I get back to the center, it's going to weld that together. Okay, so now we're nice and straight again. Okay, let's go to vertex mode, and I'm just simply going to hit Alt X, and I'm going to start pulling these points in. Okay, and we'll just go from there. Let me go ahead and take this vertex here. Actually, let's take that polygon right there, and let's simply make planar in the, let's try the Y, well, let's do Z. Well, I think Y is going to be our best bet, and then we'll just simply rotate it back into position here. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and move that back up there. Just try to get that lined up again, so that way it's straight. Okay. Hit Alt-X, just kind of see what that looks like. Okay. All right, so now with that, let's extrude it. Actually, let's pull it down here, just to keep from having to add that again. Now let's go ahead and grab that polygon again and extrude it. Okay. And I'm just going to go to vertex mode, pull that down to here, and we're just shaping this out. Okay. Extrude again. Oops. Let's make sure we extrude the polygon, not the vertices there. Okay, pull that here, and then this one we're going to put right here, and then we're going to continue to extrude that out just like so. Oops. Let's try that again. Hit OK. And we'll go right up to the bottom here. We're going to need one right up here along the top, so that way it just follows that curvature. Okay. And we'll extrude it one more time. Okay. Go right out to the edge there, kind of redistribute that topology there. And then I'm going to add one segment right across the middle there. So I'm selecting that ring, and then I'm just going to use connect, hit OK on that, and then take this that vertex or set of vertices there and pull those out there. All right, great. So now let's hit Alt-X, and here's what we've got right now. So we've got this nice little trigger going here. We've got the hammer. I keep saying trigger, it's the hammer. What I want to do now is I want to take these two edges right here, or just that one edge I should say, and just pull that straight out, so that way it starts to round that out some. Let's go ahead and add another loop right in here. And so you can actually hold down Shift, and when you do that it's going to add it right to the center, but then it's also going to bring out that shape, and it tries to predict on what that shape is going to be like. Sometimes it does a pretty good job, and sometimes it doesn't, but this time it's okay. All right, so there we've got a pretty good shape going there for the hammer. I would want to come in and actually take this, pull that in just a little bit, and then actually take the bottom and top vertices there and pull that in, just kind of round that out a little bit more. Kind of do the same thing underneath here. Oops, let's make sure we grab the right vertex there on that one. Okay, so it kind of has this effect here. Very rough, but that's okay. Okay, it doesn't have to be pretty as of right now. We're just refining that. Okay, so once we've got a pretty good shape on that, I'm going to go ahead and convert it over to Editable Poly. And with that converted over, let's add a Turbo Smooth. And we'll bump that up to like 3 iterations, turn on Isoline Display for right now. And then I'm going to come in, and actually I'm going to remove the polygons that are on the bottom of that, because they're never going to be seen anyway. So I'm just going to remove that. Okay. And with our Turbo Smooth, you'll see that that stays down there. Okay. Let's go ahead and add some segments. So go to Edge Mode, turn on Show End Result, and let's add a couple of loops in here. So I'm going to add a loop here, and then let's add one right across here. Okay, so it creates kind of a nice little shape there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave it. I'm actually going to create a loop here, so that way it stays round. I kind of like that rounded look there. Okay. All right, everything else looks pretty good. I mean, the hammer is pretty simple, if you really think about it. It's not a very complex piece of machinery, but let's take a look in our reference image. Just do a quick look here. I'm going to go ahead and take these vertices on the front edge here, and we'll pull that up some. Okay, now on that hammer, let's go ahead and isolate this. There is one extra piece here, and there's actually this little piece that's inside of that. It's not very big. It's just like a little round peg that will actually fire off the weapon. We don't have to have it, but there is a possibility that maybe in the game we would see that angle. And so what I would do is just simply inset that, okay? And we'll inset that amount pretty low. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take that edge out. I'm going to hit Control Backspace and select just that polygon, and I'm going to use Polygon's GeoPoly, and that'll kind of round it out for us. And then all I have to do is extrude that, okay? And when we extrude that just a little bit, okay, let's do 0.25 on that. Then I can add in a segment. So Swift Loop here and up against the base of that. And that's really all it is. Okay, actually it doesn't even come out that far. So let's grow one time and just push that back on the Y. Very, very small. These are actually different shapes all the time, but that's really all it is. Okay. So now that we have that, what I want to do just really quickly is I want to inset this edge, okay, just the top portion of the hammer, and I'm going to inset it because I want to create a little bit of a crease right across there. So inset that, pull that down, and hit OK. And so that kind of creates this flat line here. And there we go. All right, so now we have our hammer ready to go. We'll be adding some detail to the top of that because we need some sort of grip to go on that. We'll be doing that in ZBrush at a later time, but what we're doing here is we're just trying to get the overall shapes of this. So, all right, let's go ahead and change its color. We have the hammer, and the gun is mainly done. There's just a couple of other details that we need to add in. We need to add in this latch. That's a lock there. If we wanted to make this a really old gun, we actually wouldn't put that there because that's something that's kind of a newer addition. So if it's really old, you wouldn't have that. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in there because I think it looks cool. And then we'd also want to create this little pit right here across the top of the gun, so that way we can view down the sights, and it actually is used with the sights at the front. Okay. So just a couple more details to do. In the next lesson, we'll take care of that detail across the top, and then we'll start working on that latch. So I'll see you then.